Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to B-Ball Breakdown. I have a doozy for you. The 77 NBA Finals, Game 6, pitting the Sixers versus the Blazers. The Sixers were a very talented team, much like the Miami Heat of this year, with a bunch of stars placed around each other, whereas the Portland Trail Blazers were a team, much like the Mavericks. They were centered around perhaps the greatest center that ever played in the NBA when he was healthy, and that was Bill Walton. We had an amazing conversation on Twitter today, so check out my timeline because a lot of comments about it were made about whether or not Bill Walton was truly the best center that ever played when he was healthy. I think he was. And certainly in college, I don't think any center ever played better than he did. So, stay tuned for the game-clinching Game 6 where the Portland Trail Blazers won their first and only title. Here's a typical Sixers offense. Not too much movement, maybe one screen set, and then if they swing it, they'll rely on an ISO long jumper. The Sixers relied much on their athletic ability, and they didn't run a whole team system on offense. Here you'll see lots of one-on-one, very little movement, guys trying to rotate to get the ball. Caldwell Jones misses an awful shot, and on the rebound, McGinnis is going to go to the basket and throw up an awful shot there. More one-on-one offense as they get the ball to Dr. J on the high post, and he simply turns and shoots it. It was pretty effective, but ultimately cost them the game. The Sixers didn't always have the point guard bring the ball up. Here McGinnis, their power forward, brings it up and actually gets Doug Collins into the offense by curling around the screen and then giving the screener the pass for the layup. Nice play. While George McGinnis had seen his best days in the ABA, here you'll see his patented jumper where he shoots it on the way down. While Henry Bibby was never a great point guard and never handled the ball that well, watch how he just falls down here on the court, he does stick with it and ultimately gets a top of the key jumper to fall. One of the things he did do well. But again, look how the speed affects him and he just drops the ball out of bounds. Let's get to Dr. J. He liked to gamble on defense, leaving him out of position a lot of the time, but also letting him get plays like this. Watch this replay. Look how high he gets up. And there's Bobby Gross, who kind of gets up there with him. Here's another example of a gambling defensive move by Dr. J that does not work, as Walton gets a layup off a pretty pass from Lucas. But watch Dr. J dribble down the court. Nobody can stop him. And oh my God, does he posterize Bill Walton. Look how high he gets up and how vicious this dunk is. We don't see dunks like this anymore. One way they got the ball to Dr. J was doing a cross screen with a guard and letting him go to town once he gets the ball in the paint. He was pretty much unstoppable anywhere near there. Here's a move LeBron could use, a high post catch near the corner of the foul line and then blow by and a finish at the rim. One problem Dr. J had was he loved to leave his feet to pass, and the Blazers were more than happy to step in and take that. Look how fast Lionel Hollins is down the court, and there's Lucas to clean up. Team defense wasn't the Sixers' forte. Watch how Bibby and Dr. J don't speak, and it forces a switch, and Bobby Gross nails a jumper. Again, bad communication on the weak side when the Blazers exchange from the post, and you'll see Bibby and Dr. J not guarding anybody, and you'll see Bibby not box out Bobby Gross on the switch, and he gets the putback. I want you to watch how good Bobby Gross is for this Portland team and how well he moves without the ball. Watch how he cuts across, he's going to come back up, never stop moving, and when he cuts back door, he doesn't get the pass, but he's right there for position for the rebound and the putback. Perfect. Watch how bad Doug Collins is on defense. Loses his man completely and gets beaten back door. Here's one of my favorite plays of all time. They hit the high post and run around, and when Lucas fakes, you'll see Doug Collins run into Steve Mix, his own man, instead of chasing around the high side, and that frees up Lucas for a wide open jumper. A typical Portland offense had multiple cutters to the basket, and here a very common one was from the wing curling around the high post right to the basket. Dr. J could not have played that worse. Then there was the simple give and go play. Ricky Davis dumps the ball down to Bill Walton. Doug Collins couldn't have played it worse. Beautiful pass by Walton, though, for a layup. More beautiful execution on offense as Walton will set a back screen first, then turn around and set a down screen for a wide open jump shot. The offense by the Blazers was very free-form and organic, and here they run a triangle offense set where they screen down in the corner and they hit the post again with Walton, and look at this beautiful cut to the basket and a beautiful pass by Walton and a finish by Gross. That's basketball, folks. And here's a textbook fast break. Beautiful outlet by Walton and then a pull-up bank shot by the Blazers. And here's classic UCLA high post offense where the guard cuts through, and on the pinch post, they'll let Lionel Hollins go one-on-one and finish with a beautiful jumper. Here's the genius of Bill Walton. Beautiful backdoor pass. He keeps moving and gets that jump hook in Caldwell Jones' face. He could also do a nice turnaround jumper on the block as a hook, or he could face up and hit a bank shot from about 15 to 16, a lot like Tim Duncan these days. The big guy also roamed the paint, and he caused a lot of havoc on anybody who got near the basket and tried to shoot. And it usually led to a fast break, and here Lionel Hollins finishes on a beautiful spin move in the lane. And look how Walton is going to block Dr. J's drive and keep it in bounds, and it goes right to one of his teammates. Another patented fast break by the Blazers, finishing with Ricky Davis's layup. I don't want Bobby Gross to be overlooked here. Look how great his defense is. He comes off his man to get that steal, and he stays with it, runs the length of the court as hard as he can, and he's in a perfect position to get the rebound and put back with a beautiful tip in with one hand over his head. Down the stretch, the Sixers were able to cut a big lead down, but watch this awful transition defense off of a free throw. Nobody gets back, they race right back down, and Portland gets a dunk. With under a minute to go and Portland clinging to a 3-point lead, they ultimately have to take a tough shot with the shot clock winding down, and watch McGinnis not box out Lucas down low. He grabs the rebound and gets fouled by a very young Mike Dunleavy. Down 4, the Sixers opt to go one-on-one with Dr. J, who gets in the air and has to pass to Jelly Bean Bryant, Kobe's dad, who gets that shot blocked by Walton. But there's McGinnis picking it up and hitting a tough 17-footer to cut it to 2. All the Blazers have to do is get the ball in bounds and hold it and wait for the Sixers to foul. Instead, Bobby Gross gets swarmed and they get a jump ball call out of it. Naturally, McGinnis wins the jump over Bobby Gross. They don't really have a play though, and they let Dr. J go one-on-one. And I want to show you his jump shot. Watch how he pulls his arm back after the follow-through instead of following through smoothly. That's why he missed a lot of his outside jumpers. But they get the rebound. The shot ends up going out of bounds off the Blazers, and they get one last chance. Here, they don't run much of an out-of-bounds play, but they do end up getting a decent shot from McGinnis, who's cutting in from outside the frame, and he simply misses the shot. Portland celebrates its first ever professional championship, and this is where Bill Walton loses his shirt in that iconic shot of him getting mobbed.
Baskets are down. The one on my left. Walton has had the jersey stripped off him. Walton and the Trailblazers trying to battle through the crowd in the locker room.
So there you have it, sports fans. An amazing team, the Portland Trailblazers, led by Bill Walton. And let's not forget Maurice Lucas, a really tough power forward. Dave Twardzik, the little pesky guard. And you got Bobby Gross, who I love to watch play for his hustle and his ability. And the list goes on and on. Don't miss The Breaks of the Game, a fantastic book written by David Halberstam, perhaps the finest book about basketball ever written. And it's all about the Portland Trailblazers from this era. A great read. Read it for your summer reading list for sure. Well, stay tuned for lots more. I think we're going to get Danny Granger coming up here on a mini documentary, and we're going to have Jim Herrick come on and do an interview with me. And we're also going to have Coach Bill Burka of the Lakers break down a game from the 80s with us from the Lakers. Very exciting stuff. So don't miss out, and don't forget at B-Ball Breakdown, it's not a channel, it's a conversation. You in?